Hello, welcome to this video. My name is Momo Easy. In this video, I'm going to introduce you to custom WordPress dynamic website. So a dynamic website basically refers to a website that is tailored to meet, let's say, a user specific requirement such that, let's say, the content the user will be seeing will be personalized to the user experience, and it will be personalized to the user's query. That is, whatever the user is looking for is what will be displayed to the user. So a typical example of dynamic websites are blogs and e-commerce stores. So blogs and e-commerce stores are types of popular example of dynamic website. So on WordPress, we have the ability to extend the function of, let's say, our posts and other things based on how we want to do it. That is, using some set of plugins to help you extend the functionality on your website. You can extend the function of WordPress that is just beyond the default post that we have here. And that's why I'm going to introduce you to the concept of custom post types, taxonomies, and meta feeds. So custom post type are just a set of feature on your WordPress that allows you to create default post, that allow you to create like a post more than the default post and pages that you have on your website. So especially that will be very useful for you if you really want to display different types of curated content for your users that doesn't fit the normal blog post and the page format that you have there. So example of custom post type include, let's say you want to create a portfolio item that will display, let's say example, some portfolio, so let's say some works that you have done, let's say testimonials, products, events, and let's say food recipes. And there are more that you can do with custom post types. So by defining your custom post type, you can organize and present your content in, let's say, a more structured manner. So each custom post type will have its own set of, let's say, custom feeds, that is feeds that are not normally on a post type like we have on this default post. Let me click on add new on this post. You see that on the default WordPress post, we only have the ability to add the title, which is a feed type. Then we have the ability also to add our description, which is another feed type. Then we have the ability to add featured image, which is another feed type. We have the ability to add the title, a feed type. Then this for our description, that's a feed type. Then we have the ability to add featured image, which is another feed type for image. But if I want to add more feeds to this, I'll have to create a custom feed or custom feeds for this particular post. And with such idea, in creating custom dynamic website, your design features on your website will just be limitless. That is, they will be unlimited. There won't be end to the design prowess to your website. So taxonomies are just a way to organize a different aspect of your post, so that when users want to sort out items easily from all the posts that are displayed, it won't be gruesome. It won't be gruesome for them. And also, one thing you should know that taxonomies are of two types. We have the tags and we have the categories. So the difference between our tags and categories is that categories, for example, are hierarchical taxonomy, while tags are unhierarchical taxonomy. So without further delay, experientially, you will know more about all this I've talked about in what I'm going to do next. For example, I'm working on a job board website. So I want to create a kind of custom post that will display on this admin UI the way this default post is being displayed here. To do that, I'll need some set of dynamic website plugins builder, which I'm going to introduce you to. So if I go to install plugins, you see some series of plugins that I've installed to help me achieve this. So one of the plugins or the set of tools of plugin I will introduce you to in this video is the Crocoblock tools. So as you can see, you see Crocoblock here. So Crocoblock is a company that has built some dynamic plugin tools which you can use to build dynamic websites. So the Crocoblock wizard you see installed here will help me to install other Crocoblock plugins into my website, which I used, and that's why I have other Crocoblock plugins installed. So if you don't have Crocoblock license, you won't be able to do this. Most dynamic websites require premium plugins to build. So especially for the fact that dynamic websites offer more benefit out there, so you expect that the tools you'll be using to build such kind of website will require some payment. Okay, so but compared to what you'll be gaining from dynamic websites, I count that investment as little to nothing. Okay, I know how hard the economy is out there, but most time you look at this and you see that your profit far outweighs, let's say, your investment cost. So other plugins you need to note here that I've installed are like Admin's Column, Elementor is free, Elementor Pro is paid for. Then you can see all the jet here are from this Crocoblock company. You see Jet of Canvas column, Jet plugs for Elementor, and you see all the series of Jet plugins. But the main plugin here is Jet Engine. This is the core plugin of the Crocoblock company. And if I hover on this Jet Engine, you will see I have post types here, taxonomies, then meta boxes, or which I can also refer to as meta feeds. You see that with Jet Engine, we can create a custom post type, meta feed, and taxonomy. So on this job board listing website, I'm going to create a new post type and I'm going to say job listings. So I'll hit on add new. Then I'm going to name the post type job listings. So automatically a post slug has been created, that is the post type slug. This is your slug. What appears after this slash on your domain URL is called the posts, is called a slug. So ability to edit this slug, I say yes. Let's say on my front end, if I create a post type, I want the ability to edit the link. So I've checked it. Then we have labels. So the label is whatever I want to name. Let's say I want it to display here. Let's say these are for example labels. So I want my label to say for singular to say job listing. Then this one to say add new job listing. As you can see, add new job listing has been automatically created by the plugin. So add new job listing as well. Then this one will say new job listing, edit job listing, view job listing, or job listing, search for job listing, parent job listing. This one says parent job listing, but the correct should be no job listings found. Then this one should say no job listings found in trash. Then this is job listings, add job listing. Then this one say featured, let's say I can say featured job image. So all this might be unnecessary for you, but I want to have this on my website so that if I'm handling over some role to certain users to work on the back end of the website, they know just where and how to handle things based on these labels I've created for my post type. So say remove featured job image. So use featured job image. So then this one is going to say insert into job listing updated to this job listing. So that's, I'm done with the labels. If I come to the advanced setting of this post type, the post type, I want it to be public because people will have to see the jobs that are being listed or published out there. So I'll say this post type should be published. Do I want to exclude it from search? No. I want them to be able to search for jobs once they are published. So it makes sense to toggle this publicly queryable as true, show in admin UI. This is the admin UI. You want it to show. You want it to show in the admin menu. You want it to show also in the navigation menu. Show in REST API. I'm going to leave it as toggled. Register query verse, I'll leave this as toggled. You may not understand all of this, but if you follow accordingly, as you follow me on this on several videos I'm going to be dropping, you're going to understand more of what these concepts are all about. Rewrite slug, I'll leave it as empty. Rewrite with front, I'll toggle it. Then capability is a post. Map meta cap, I'll leave this. Now what I want to toggle, I must toggle this as hierarchical. Then menu position, that is where do I want this post type to appear on this admin UI side. That's on this left bar of the admin area. So I want it to appear at the first separator. So it's going to be at the first separator. Then I can choose an icon. So let me scroll through this and I'll choose this icon, or I can look for, let's say, let me look for board. So I believe I prefer this one. You can see it's a board. Now, the kind of support I want, you can see for our default WordPress post, we have the default support for title, the editor, and the featured image. And there are other supports like the author, SAC, and other support for this post type. So basically, for this website, I'm not going to use the default editor. I want to know the author of a post, so I support author. Because I'm not using the default editor, there's no need for the SR to me. So thumbnail, I'm going to set it as featured. So it does not necessarily mean because you are not using the editor, you cannot support for SR2. It all depends on how you want to work with things. So automatically custom feeds are supported. So I'll leave it as it is. So you will see that next we have the ability to add new fields apart from these default feeds that are supported for our post type. We can add new custom feeds to our post type. For example, since I'm working on a job board listing website, so what kind of field requirement do you think is suitable for a job board listing website? So I'm going to pause the video for you to think about it, then I'll come back to you. So far, you see that as I have unveiled this tab for my new meta feed, you see I have the label for my meta feed. Let's say I want to have the job address, that is where the address of where the job offer is. There's a job address. You can see a slug or a name ID. You can see meta feed name /key/ID. This that's created here is called the meta key. This is just the label. Under this name field will be stored in the database. It should contain only Latin letters, numbers, hyphen or underscore chars. So you can only have this with hyphen or underscore. Now the object type is a field. As we are working on custom fields, we are not dealing with tabs or accordion or endpoint. So what we want this to be is a feed. Feed type is a text feed. You can see there are several feed types offered when creating your custom meta feed. We have the text, the date, time, datetime, down to HTML. But for this feed which we are creating, job address, the fitting relevant feed here will be text, because we want the user to be intentional about the address they are putting down on the job board website. So we want them to actually write down their address. So description, we can add description to help user understand the feed they are filling. But for this, address is pretty clear. They don't need any other description to help them know what to fill. The feed width, I'm going to set it as 100%. Character, you can limit the number of character the writing of the text should extend to. So default value, that's not needed here. Is this feed required? If it's required, you toggle it as required. But for the sake of convenient working at the back end of my website, I'm going to leave this as untoggled. You can support for quick, you can edit this if you support for quick support, whereby you can make changes without having to reload the page. So show in the REST API, I will leave this as it is. Now, an interesting aspect of meta feeds in this jet engine is that you can set up conditional rule of how this feed should relate in respect to the filling or a choice of another feed. Let's say if a choice is made based on certain feed and that choice is not relevant to this feed, you can set this feed as hidden, which I will show you shortly as this project is concerned. So, but for the time being, I'm going to click on add post type so that we will see what we've been doing so far. So after adding the post type, you see we now have job listings being displayed at our admin UI left hand bar. So you see our labels correctly shows all job listing, all those labels we created, add new job listing. These are labels. And if I click on, let's say, all job listings, you see we currently have no job listed. And you see also that the label here is saying add new job listing. So let's say I click on add new job listing, you will see what we have so far here. This is the default support for post types on our custom post type, which we earlier set. We can enter the title of the job, and you see the custom fields we've created so far. The only one we have here is the job address we created. Then the other support, the featured image, that is thumbnail, you see it here as well. Then you see the support also for the author of that's going to show, that is whoever is creating a new job listing will show that such user was the one who created the job listing. All this I'm doing at the back end. When we, let's say, get to a point whereby we want all this to be done at the front end, it will accordingly map according to any settings we do for it. So I'll go back to our post type, to Jet Engine, post type, and add other relevant fields to the post type. That is the fields that are necessary for job listings. That is what kind of info need to be put out there based on a job listing. So now I've added this. I'm going to add a new field, and I'm going to call it job description. So for this description, so now the entry on this field is going to be lengthy than just normal text. So the field type I'm going to choose as a WYSIWYG editor. That is, what you see is what you get. So a WYSIWYG editor allows you to add more bulky text to better explain something than what just a text will do. In that, a WYSIWYG editor has media support too. That is, within your text you can add images. So that said, I'm going to add another new field, and this field type is going to be a select field. So I'm going to name it compensation type. So this is select field. I'm going to click on select. Here we have select. Now, if I scroll down, you will see that I can start adding new options to that users or anybody can select from. So, but I'll use this opportunity to digress on this video, which is needful, to show you an aspect of Jet Engine called glossary. So I'm going to go back up here to Jet Engine. That is, click on Jet Engine itself. So now let me move to glossaries. So what glossary helps you to do is to create some collections of items that you can use on any aspect of the website. Mostly, especially if the feed types are going to be, let's say, select, checkbox feed, and radio feed. Let me repeat myself: select, checkbox feed, and radio feed. So if you are actually going to create some certain feeds, that involves checkbox, radio, or select, it's good to first come here and create a glossary for it so that such items can be picked directly from your glossary. And that's a good way to have a more organized approach to how your website works. So I'm going to repeat myself again. So well, I don't really feel just need to emphasize that. So let me emphasize this by showing you what I'm talking about. Let's say now I'm naming this compensation type. So data source, I'll set this manually. Set items manually. Then now I'm going to start adding the relevant items to this. This is going to be salary. So in the compensation type, let's say it's going to be salary or wages. So this is the feed value. So I'll copy this and paste it here. This is sorry, it's still not copying that. I'm going to copy this. So I'll paste it here. Then we have commission as a compensation type. So by the way, if I'm too slow in this video, you can increase your playback speed. And if I'm too fast, you can reduce your playback speed. So we have bonuses. Bonuses. We have profit sharing. So you can add as many, for example, a possible compensation type that can be needed for a job board listing website. So I'm going to hit on save. Then we'll go back to our post type and hit on edit. And you see, when I come down to the compensation type and I say get options from glossary, it will ask me to select the glossary. You see the glossary we created, compensation type. So I'll select compensation type, then I'll leave a placeholder. I'll say select compensation type. So multiple, no, just a single pick. Description, can add a description to this that says, let's say, choose how potential employees will be compensated. So the feed width 100% looks good. So I'll leave this as they are. That's basically what I'm going to do. Then I'll hit on update so that I won't lose our progress so far. So I'm quickly going to rush and add other feeds without explanation. So you can fast forward this video, then or you take a break. So if you like to buy me a coffee, the link is in the description of this video. So you can buy me a coffee as I do this. And let me show you what I have here. So earlier I explained these three. You saw me create these three. Now these are the new addition. You see, we have payment rate, that is how often will the potential employee be compensated once he is hired. So the feed type is a select feed. I'm going to get my options from glossary. I don't have glossary created for that yet. So I'm going to create glossary for this. Then minimum and maximum amount. Let's say if the compensation type is a salary, the potential employee needs to know ahead of time what is the minimum salary or wages to expect and the maximum if he or she will be hired. So then we have this one-time payment amount. I put this feed here. Let's say if the payment rate is a one-time payment. If it's a one-time payment, they need to know the one-time payment amount. So let's say it means there won't be rate like frequency of payment. It will just be a one-time job and a one-time payment amount to be offered. So we are going to set conditions for this, which I'll show you later on as you stay tuned on the video. So let's say if the payment compensation type is not going to be salary or wages, or if the payment rate is set to none. If the payment rate is set to none, the employer will have to explain any other possible payment rate. Then if the compensation type is not salary, let's say bonuses or commission, they will have to explain how the potential employee will be compensated. So you can see the relevant fee type I'm using. For this one is a WYSIWYG editor, while this is test area. So number of personnel, let's say for this job post, the number of personnel that will be needed, that is the available position, the minimum value is set to 1 and the default value for the number feed type is set to 1. So that's just the basic difference between the number feed of this one and the number feed of, I didn't set default value and minimum value. So I just left it as it is. Now, required qualification is a checkbox feed, and I'll get my option from glossary as well. So when I finish creating my glossary for all these checkbox feed, these are normal test area feed, select feed for years of experience. I'm going to get my options from glossary. Benefits is a test area, that is the benefit the potential employee will get once they are employed. Then the working condition, how does the working environment, how is it like? So this feed will give that room for description. Then job questions, this is a repeater feed. So repeater feeds let you make an entry. So the repeater feed type helps you to create a kind of feed that allows you to make multiple entries of let's say elements that have the same character and context without having to create several custom feeds for that. So it's easier to show you how the repeater feed works than explaining it. But just put that at the back of your mind that if you want your users to display several items that have the same character and context, you need not create multiple custom feeds for that. So the repeater feed will do the job. Let's say the questions the company is going to ask potential employees, you don't need to start creating new feed and say question 1, question 2, or no, the repeater feed will do justice to that. So now in this repeater feed, I'm going to add a new repeater feed. So I'll say, let me just call it job application question. So it's going to be a text feed, and that's just it. So now I'm going to collapse this. Then we have a gender feed. Is going to be radio. We'll get our options from glossary as well. Then we have the workplace gallery. We also get the workplace gallery, is a feed I created so that potential employees will see a glimpse of the environment where they are going to work. Then we have a date feed for the application deadline. So we will not set any other thing here than this. So now I'm going to go to my jet engine to create glossaries which I will use for the relevant aspect of the custom feeds. So I'll update my post type, and after creating the glossaries, I will show you what we have. So I'm done creating my glossary. So I'm going to show you the glossaries I've created I will use for this post type in the custom feeds for this post type job listing. So compensation type, you see I've made other additions like down to this stipend. I'll show you what I've added: commission, bonuses, profit sharing, performance based, and the rest down to this point. You can just use ChatGPT to tell you potential like payment compensation type that one can offer in a job board website, and you get something like that. Then educational qualification, these are what I've listed in my glossary. That's potential educational qualification that might be required by employers when they are posting a job. So make sure each time you finish creating this, you always hit on save. So then job payment rate, you can see we have none, per hour, per day, per week, per month, and one-time payment. So employee skills, you can see I listed some possible skills that might be required by the employers. So they will get their the options will be gotten from this glossary. So here are the skills. You can add as many more skills as you want. It all depends on you. So then years of job experience, you see I have less than 1 year here, 1 to 2 years, down to none. As the person have no job experience for that particular job. Then gender, we have male, female, then any. So that's our glossary set. Let's go and apply them in our post type. So we'll edit the job listing post type. Then we'll come down to each meta feed that needs our glossary. Like this payment rate is a select feed that will require us to get our options from glossary. So here are the list of glossaries we created. So we'll select job payment rate. So I'm going to put a placeholder that says select payment rate. So other settings, I'll leave it as it is. Then I'll go down to this required qualification, is checkbox feed. Then I want to allow custom at the back end and save custom. Get options from where? So let's say any required qualification comes to mind and I need to add that, I'll add that as well. So we have educational qualification as that. Layout is going to be vertical. So can try, let me set this as horizontal so that it will occupy more space. Then if you are going to, since we'll be creating a front-end form later on, we must check this save as array so that when we create a front-end submission form, we'll have any checkbox feed submitted rightly into the backend of our website. So I'll also go and do the same to this checkbox field. Allow custom, save custom. So if any other skills come to mind, I can add them as let's say posting a job. Get options from glossary, I'll check it. Then require skills, that is employee skills, I'll select that glossary. Layout, I'll make it horizontal as well. Then don't forget, you must save as array, let's say for future use when you are creating a front-end listing form. So job requirement, that's just the test area. So we look for other point, that's the gender. I think the gender is the last aspect of the options that needs glossary. So it's a radio field. We no need to allow custom. We get options from the glossary. Then we select glossary. Then we have gender. So I'm going to update that. So let's check our job listing so far so that we'll see what we are doing. We'll still come back to this area to address some conditions. So let's say I click on add new job listing or add new job post. You see we have our feeds here. You see our feeds are being displayed. Job address. Then we have the compensation type. You see our glossaries are being displayed. Then we have the payment, select payment rate and all that. The box, you see our fees are displaying rightly here. Then you have this as well. Number of personnel, we have the default value showing. Then you can see required qualification being displayed horizontally into columns. So we can always add value, custom value from here if we want to add any skill, like skill, can add them directly from it. That is any educational qualification. You see we have the skills here and we can add also as many skills as we can. Our job requirement is showing here also. You can see years of experience needed. We didn't select glossary for that, so that's why it's good we cross-check everything. So quickly we're going to go back and make sure that is set. Let's check if there's any other thing that needs correcting too. So these are other feeds. Then you can see our repeater is working. So gender, so we have our glossary showing here. We have the gallery, so we have that working. Application deadline is our calendar. So now I'll quickly go back to jet engine post type. Then we'll select the we'll go to year of experience to make sure that we get the right glossary for it. So years of experience is select field. So field select field, get options from glossary. Years of job experience, select years of experience. Excuse me. So I'm going to update that, then go back and check that it is set. Let's just click on add new job listings. Then when you scroll down to years of experience, you see we have our glossary displaying for that select field. Now, before setting some conditions on this field, you see that if the compensation type, let's say a salary or wages, is chosen, you know that salary can be determined, wages can be determined before taking the job. But most time, all these other jobs, all these other compensation type for some job can be determined until the job is completed. So because these ones can be determined until the job is completed, it's difficult to set, let's say, it means one cannot set, let's say, a salary amount, let's say an amount, a determined amount before the job. So that means payment rate will not be relevant to these other ones, but will only be relevant to salary or wages. So we'll set condition that this one should show only if salary or wages is selected. Then also for the minimum amount and maximum amount is only relevant if what we are dealing with here is salary. So also, although we are dealing with salary and this field is relevant to payment rate, but if the payment rate is set to none, that means minimum and maximum amount will not show. Then if the payment is set to one-time payment, these two will not show and only the one-time payment amount will be shown. So now also, if let's say salary or wages, let's say any of these other choice is made, if any of these other compensation type is chosen, so we'll have option for them, for the potential employer posting the job, to explain how personnel will be compensated. So this will show if any other compensation type is not salary or wages. Then if the payment rate is none is chosen, they'll have to explain the kind of payment rate they want to offer the potential employee. So I'll go to my job post type. Then I'm going to show you how to set meta fit conditions. So let's scroll down. So this compensation type. So I'm going to set the first condition here. So I'll scroll down to the bottom and I set conditional rule. I'll toggle this button to enable the conditional logic and I'll set a new rule. So select what if, that is compensational fee, is what equal, that is this will show this compensation type, that is this payment rate should show if compensation type is equal to which value, salary or wages. So then I close that. So payment rate will show if compensation type equals salary or wages. So I'll close that. So if you scroll up, you see we have this check mark here that shows that we've added a conditional logic to this field. So this will show if the compensation type is salary. Then this will show, we'll set this to show if payment rate is not equal to none. So it will show if payment rate is not equal to none. That is, if none is chosen, this will not show. So I'm going to add another new rule that says this minimum amount should show if payment rate is not equal to one-time payment. So why I'm using not equal is because if I decide to use to show if equal to, you see that we have a lot of options for equal, let's say per hour, per day, per week, per month. So I would have created 4 of these, which will make it like bulky. So that has been set. I'll close this. Then I'll do the same for maximum amount. Scroll down to the bottom, set the conditional rule enable the conditional logic, set the new rule to show if payment rate not equal to none, then one-time payment. So if that condition applies, it will not show. So I have to set the other one to none, not equal to none. So it would have been lovely if we can have the condition as an array, as binding between both of them, rather than creating them separately. But it's okay. This works as it is. I'm going to close this one out. Now, one-time payment amount, I'm going to set the condition to show if payment rate is set to one-time payment. New rule, if payment rate equal to one-time payment. So if the payment rate is one-time payment, they'll have to enter the payment amount. So that means there's a fixed amount for the job and it's a one-time payment. So explain payment rate of employee. So let's say you are saying that you don't have a payment rate, and yet you chose none. You have to explain. So payment rate equal to, so they will explain payment rate of employee if the payment rate is equal to none. So that's it. Now explain how personnel will be compensated. This will show set condition, new rule, select if compensation type is not equal to salary or wages. So that will show if other selections is made rather than salary. So they'll have to explain how personnel will be compensated if compensation type not equal to salary. So this will show. I'll close this. So watch out for my video on how to create a multi-step conditional logic form using Jet Form Builder. So those conditions have been set. Now let's check how they work on our add a new job listing item. Let's check it. So now we have select compensation type. So we have salary. So because I chose salary, you see it's showing. So I'll have to set a condition that you can see that this one is showing before a selection is made. So also, and this one is showing when, let's say, a selection has not been made. So until a selection is made, they should not show. So we'll go and rectify this for this string. So you have to always check to make sure you have your setup intact. So I'm going to, so it's beneficial for you that we are going back and forth like this, so you understand what it means working with such in real life application. So I'm going to go down to edit the conditional logic and say should show if compensation type is equal to salary. So that will only show, so the minimum amount will show only if all these conditions are obeyed. So I'll do the same for maximum amount. I'll edit my condition. I'll add to only show if compensation type is equal to salary or wages. So it has been set like that. Now we had this explain how employees will be compensated showing, which is not supposed to be. Edit, show if compensation not equal to salary. So we want to set it to, yeah, it's not supposed to show that. The condition is well set. So I wonder why it's showing. So I'm going to update this post type and check. The proper stuff is that explain compensation plan of employee is well set. Let's check let's try and see this. Add new post, add. So you can see, let's scroll down. Explain, it should show if not equal to. You don't want it to show until a selection is made. So let me correct this stuff. I'm going to go to post type again. So don't mind that we are going back and forth. Like I said, is for your own profiting that we are taking time to go back and forth like this. I'm going to choose not in the list and say salary or wages. So I'm going to close this out, update. Then I'm going to check if it works. So I've used not in the list, and this how it works. Although it's not supposed to show now, but if I choose a salary, you see that disappears right away. But if I choose commission, it shows. So that's manageable. Now, what I'm going to do next is to create a taxonomy. So you see we've checked through post type. We've created a post type. We've created meta feeds for the post type. And we've created, now it's time to create taxonomy. I'm going to go to Jet Engine, go to taxonomy, and you see I'm going to add a new taxonomy. Taxonomies are just a way for us to organize our items like I told you. So I'm going to name this job categories. Job categories, and this will be for the post type called job listings. Then I'll come to advanced, no need for the labels. I'll come to advanced, then set it to hierarchical. I'm going to add a new meta feed and say job category image or logo. So that feed is going to be a media feed. So I'm going to add that. So let's see what we just have now. You see, if I hover around here, you see job categories as part of my taxonomy. Let's click on it. You see, let's say I have accountant as part of the category. You see, I can choose an image for that job category. Let me just add the category, that is that taxonomy, and you see we have it, job categories accountant, and we're going to add a lot more on this job category so that let's say users, when filling the form in the front end, can select one of the categories here. That, let's say, when employers are filling or posting a job, they can select one of the job categories that their job post fall into. So I'm going to add another taxonomy. I'll click on taxonomy, and I'm going to add new, and I'm going to say industries. So post type is going to be job listing. I'll go to advanced setting, make sure it's set to hierarchical. That's the only thing you need to do here. Don't touch anything else. Make sure it's set to hierarchical. Add taxonomy. So we can add a custom feed, let's say industry, image, and icon. Let's say industry, image, or icon. So if you are new to WordPress, custom WordPress dynamic website, the first thing is not to try and understand everything we are doing. The first thing you need to do is gather information by following the tutorial from beginning to the end. When you have all the total information, the understanding breaks out to you. So I'm going to select this field type as media and update my taxonomy. So I'm going to add another taxonomy as well. I'll click on taxonomy. Then I'm going to add new. Then I'm going to say location or job location. Let me just put location. Location, post type, job listings. Then I'll make sure this is set to hierarchical as well. Add taxonomy. So I'm going to add another taxonomy, and I'm going to click on add new, and I'm going to say job type. So the job type, we have things like, is it part-time, is it full-time, and all those stuff. Job type. Then is it part-time, is it full-time, is it freelance? And so that's job type. Set this to hierarchical and add taxonomy. So when we hover here, you see we have our job type, location, industry, then job categories. So let's click on add new. So if you see here, you see we have created a custom feed for our post type job listings. So let's scroll down and you see we have everything well set and ready for use. So if you understand the whole concept of custom post type, taxonomies, and custom meta feeds, you can do a whole lot of powerful WordPress website designs, and your skill set, let's say, will be unlimited. So make sure you like this video, share, subscribe, and if you're watching this video from Facebook, make sure to like my page and follow me as well for more videos on dynamic websites and WordPress websites in general. See you then. It's easy. Till the next video.